Lecture note 16. So the first one, we want to divide polynomial by monomial. Monomial means one term. You see the divisor is one term. Even we see 3, we see x, but because it's multiplication, so multiplication is like a glue the different things together as one term. So this also monomial means one term. The numerator will have 4 terms. So the quotient should be 4 terms. So we remember what we did in another one? We just do one by one, right? When we divide by monomial. So we do 12x cubed divided by 3x squared. 12 divided by 3, we get 4. X cubed divided by x, this x is x raised by 1. So when we divide two same base, x, the base is the same, we subtract their exponents. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So we get 4x squared. The next term is minus. Negative 6x squared divided by 3x. 6 divided by 3, that's 2. X squared divided by x, that's x. Right. Next term is plus 3x divided by 3x, that's 1. Something divides itself, is 1. Now, the last one is also plus. What is 1 divided by 3x? This is 1 divided by 3x. Right? This is 1 over 3x. That's it. So we still have 4 terms. Now let's see B. B, if this is okay with you, you can do one term by one term, right? You can do horizontally. But I like to put a negative 5x under here. It helps me to visualize better. Now I have 25x raised by 4 divided by negative 5x. So 25 divided by negative 5, I get negative 5. X raised by 4 divided by x, I get an x cubed. Maybe I should change to be red color to be more obvious. Right, I get my first term. So this term is done. Let me cross. Negative 15 divided by negative 5, that's positive 3. Then x cubed divided by x, that's x squared. So second term is done. Negative 30 divided by negative 5, positive 6. X squared divided by x, x. Third term is done. 5x divided by negative 5x. 5x and 5x are the same, but one is positive, one is negative, so I get negative 1. Negative 20 divided by negative 5, that's a positive 4. But this time I have x in the denominator, right? So 4 in the numerator, because negative 20 divided by negative 5 is positive 4. But I still have this x in the denominator. So negative 20 divided by negative 5x is 4 over x. So how many terms I have? So those 2 terms are done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 terms. Same number as the numerator, right? Because numerator I have 5 terms. Okay, now number 2, we need to use long division. Let's move up a little bit. Increase this. Use a long division, so we put the sign here. Then we move x plus 2 here. Right, let's write a little bit down. So x plus 2 here. Now we take 2 terms, right? We use the leading term divided by x. We get an x, quotient x. X times x get x squared. X times 2, 2x plus 2x. We subtract. Appendices are wrong because we have 2 terms, subtracting 2 terms. X squared subtract x squared becomes 0. We don't bother to write 0. -1 minus 2x minus 3x. Then pull the next one down, -6. Go down here. -3x divided by x minus 3, -3. Now, -3 divided times x, -3x, -3 times 2, +2, -6. Oh, those two exactly the same, right? When we subtract, we get 0. Because -3x subtract -3x is 0. -6 subtract -6 is also 0. So the remainder is 0. Basically, no remainder. What does it mean? That means, so this equals to x minus 3. No remainder means the dividend can be factored as a product of the divisor and the quotient. Exactly, right? X squared minus x minus 6. So we think about two factors of -6 adds up to be -1. Indeed, x plus 2 times x minus 3. Because -3 plus 2 is -1. -3 times 2, -6. All right, let's see C. We're going to make the same sign, the long division sign. Then ignore this C. I'm going to write x plus 1 here. My divisor here, right? I can ignore this. So now let me type. 2x cubed divided by x, 2x squared. Right? Then we have x times 2x squared. That gets rid of the first term, the leading term. We don't really need to write it. So we have to write the second one. So 1 times 2x squared, that's 2x squared. While we do subtraction, right? So when we subtract -3x squared, subtract 2x squared, that's -5x squared, -5x squared. Then we take the next one down. Next one is -4x. Now, what should we put in the quotient? -5x squared divided by x, that's -5x. Then -5x times x, -5x squared. When we do subtraction, those two down. So +1 times -5x, we get -5x. Now we do subtraction, right? Each step we subtract. Subtract -5x becomes +5x. So -4x plus 5x, that's positive x. Then we move the next one down. What's negative? Next term is 3. Let me draw a line here. Right. You said just don't bother to write -5x squared down here. I don't bother to write the leading term, right? Because I use the leading term divided by this x that gives me this quotient. And of course, this quotient multiplied by x will give me exactly the leading term. And every step I subtract. So I can just ignore writing this. I just write the second term. 1 times 2x squared, then I subtract. 1 times -5x, -5x, then I subtract. Right? So now what do we need to put in the quotient? 1, isn't it? Because x divided by x is 1. So put +1 there. Now 1 times x is x, the leading term will be gone. And the 1 times 1, that will be 1. Then I subtract 3 from 1. What do I get? I get 2, isn't it? So I have minus, so I subtract 3 minus 1, I get 2. Okay, so the answer for this one, let's write it. Let's see, this one equals to the dividend divided by divisor equals to 2x squared minus 5x plus 1. Remember how do we write the remainder? Well, 2 is positive, so we're adding positive 2. Oops. The numerator is 2. The denominator is a divisor to show this is the remainder. The remainder is 2 over, so the whole thing is 2x squared minus 5x plus 1 plus 2 over x plus 1. Let's see 3. So we have B and D similar, right? Then we have 4 equations. So let's see C. Let's see B. We put 2y, we cross off this B. We put 2y minus 3 outside, 2y minus 3, the divisor outside this sign. So we take 2x squared divided by 2y, or this is y. Let's put a y in the quotient. Again, we don't really have to write the first term, the leading term. We just do -3 times y, that's -3y. Then we do subtraction, right? We subtract -3y, that become positive. So 3y plus 3y, we get a 6y. We pull next one down, which is 9. Now, what do we need in the quotient? 3, right? Because of 2, oops. Because 2y times 3 give us 6y. So we add 3 in the numerator. Now, 2y times 3, that's 6y. Subtract, get rid of the leading term. So all we have to do is -3 times +3, we get -9. Or then we do minus, we subtract. Subtract -9, subtract -9, 0, right? So then this one equals to y plus 3. No remainder. No remainder means the dividend can be factored as 2 factors. One is a divisor, one is a quotient. Now let's see this one. Let's see D. D, we can do the same thing. Just, I don't have to rewrite everything. I put it x minus 2 outside the sign, right? Then I'm missing x squared term, right? So just, if you could, when you rewrite it, write 0 there. For me, I want to use this. So what I'm going to do is, so 3x cubed divided by x, that's 3x squared, right? Then 3x squared multiplied by -2 give us -6. -6x squared. You see, I don't really have to write the leading term, right? Because leading term cancels. That's my goal every term, every step. So then I have 0. Think there's a 0 there, right? 0 minus -6x squared. Because it's a minus, right? Minus become positive. So we get a positive 6x squared. 6x squared, positive. Now pull the next one down, 2x. 6x squared divided by x, 6x. So let's add 6x in the quotient. Then 6x times -2, -12x. -12x. Then each step we do subtraction. 2x subtract -12x become a 2x plus 12x, which give us 14x. Now pull next one down, -5. 14x divided by x, 14 plus 14 in the quotient. Right, so 14 times x, 14x. Then -2 times 14, we'll get -28. Right? 2 times 14, 28, then we'll have -2, so we'll get -28. Then we subtract. So -5 subtract -28 becomes -5 plus 28. So that's 28 minus 5, which is 23. So the answer for this is 3x squared plus 6x plus 14. Now, plus, we still have plus, but the plus a rational expression. Plus, let me write it. 23 over the divisor, which is x minus 2. Now let's see 3. We'll solve this rational equations. Right, let's see the first one. First one, we have 2 terms. So in class, I talk about this. I talk about, okay, let's figure out the least common denominator. Right, the least common denominator for this one, least common denominator for this one is 12x. Right, so we just multiply 12x on both sides. We multiply 12x with, on the right-hand side, we multiply 12x on the left-hand side, both sides. So when we do that, we cancel the denominator, right? 12 divided by 2, that's 6. X divided by x, that's 1. So we have 6 times 5, because the numerator will have 5. On this side, we have 2 terms. So right-hand side, we have 2 terms. So 2 over x times 12x. So x divided by x becomes 1, but we still have 12. So we have 2 times 12. And 1 over 12, well, the sign is minus, right? 1 over 12 times 12x, that's just x. You see, the beauty of this is all of a sudden no more denominators, because we multiply by least common denominator, which cancels all the, because it's the least common actually is multiple of all the denominators, so it cancels all the denominators. 6 times 5 is 30. 2 times 12 is 24 minus x. Right? So let's move x to the left-hand side. Let's move 30 to the left-hand side, to the right-hand side. So get 24 minus 30, which is -6. Right. So for C, I talked about it in the classwork, right? We just do cross multiplication. Or we can multiply by the least common denominator. Actually, let's keep the same way. Let's keep doing the same thing. So let's figure out the least common denominator. Least common denominator. Right? Least common denominator I claim is x times x minus 3 times x plus 3. Let's see why. So this denominator on the left-hand side is x times x minus 3. Isn't it? Right? And then on the right-hand side, we have difference of 2 squares. That's x minus 3 and x plus 3. Okay, so we have 4 factors, but 2 factors are the same. Okay. So this denominator will have x times x minus 3, and this denominator will have x minus 3 times x plus 3. So x minus 3, the same. So the factors will have x minus 3, x plus 3. So that's our least common denominator for this one. So we just multiply both sides by the least common denominator. So multiply least common denominator on this side. Multiply least common denominator on this side. The least common denominator, because it's the least multiple of those both denominators, so they will cancel out all the denominators. So now let's write the numerator first. On the left-hand side, we have numerator x minus 4. Now, when the least common denominator cancels the denominator, for the left-hand side, we have x plus 3, right? Because x plus 3 is in the least common denominator. On the right-hand side, let's write the numerator first, which is -2. Then x minus 3, x plus 3 divided by x minus 3, x plus 3 becomes 1. So we're left with x. And that's it. That's the beauty of figuring out the least common denominator, a multiplier on both sides. Now let's expand this. Let's FOIL this. So x minus 4 times x plus 3, that's x squared minus x, because -4 plus 3, that's -1, then -12. Then we move -2x to this side, become +2x, then equals 0, right? That's how we solve quadratic equations. We want to make one side to be 0. Simplify this, combine like terms, we get x squared minus x plus x becomes plus x, right? Then -12 equals to 0. We want to factor this. So we think, what is the factor, two factors of -12 adds up to be 1, because the middle term is 1x. Well, that's x plus 4 times x minus 3, right? Because 4 minus 3, that's 1. But 0 property, but +4, we'll get the -4, +3 as a solution. Okay. So that's so I did C first. Okay, now let's move up to do B and D, and I think that's it. That's the last one. So let's see this one. Let's see B. I have this rational expression, I have this rational expression, and those two indeed have common denominators. So why don't I move them to be on the same side? That I can combine them. So let's just do that, right? When I move this one to the other side, it becomes negative. So actually, I could just change this. So when I move 2 over x minus 3 to the left-hand side, it becomes a negative. So allow me to change this equal sign to be negative. Then that equals to -2, right? Because I'm not moving -2. Now, so I have a common denominator, right? I just perform the operation with the numerator, which is 2x minus 2. And my denominator is x minus 3. It's my common denominator, x minus 3. Let's draw a line. Then that equals to -2. Well, what's -2? -2 we can think as a -2 over 1. Then I can perform cross multiplication. I can multiply these two. I can multiply these two. So 1 times anything will be anything. So we'll get 1 times 2x minus 2. We still get 2x minus 2. Then we'll have -2 times x minus 3. Simplify this. Get 2x minus 2 equals to -2x. -2 times -3 plus 6. Right? Now let's move around so we can combine like terms. So move -2x from the left-hand side, from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, it becomes +2x. Right, 6. Move -2 from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, become +2. Well, it's the same way to think, okay, add -2 on both sides, add -2x on both sides. 2x plus 2x, we get 4x. 6 plus 2, we get 8. Divided by 4 on both sides, get x equals to 8 divided by 4, which is 2. Okay. Now, this one, let's figure out the least common denominator. Obviously, least common denominator is just x plus 2 times x minus 2. Because x squared minus 4 is exactly that, x plus 2x minus 2, the difference of two squares, right? So if we multiply this LCD on this side with both of this, so we multiply every term with that, right? with LCD. So basically we enlarge this equation, the expression on both sides, you know, as a LCD times bigger. That's okay because it's equation. So the first term 2 over x plus 2, when we multiply by the LCD, we're left with the numerator, multiply by x minus 2. Because x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 becomes 1. Now, the second term on the left is 4 times x minus 2. Cancel out x minus 2 in the denominator, so we have x plus 2 left. Then on the right-hand side, the LCD is the same as x squared minus 4, so they cancel each other. So we're left with x minus 1, which is the numerator. Now let's distribute. So we get 2x minus 4 plus 4x plus 8, which equals to x minus 1. I'm going to move. Okay, let's do step by step. X minus 1. Now let's combine like terms. So I have 2x plus 4x, which is 6x. Then I have minus 4 plus 8, which is plus 4. That equals to x minus 1. Then let's move around. 6x minus x, that's 5x. Then minus 1 minus 4, that's minus 5. So divided by 5 on both sides, x equals to -1. All right, that's it, finished.